Welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11. You can find me on Twitter at Razzle11Grinds. We're going to take a look at some pitching for today. It's Friday, May 12th. We have a 13-game main slate to deal with. Little annoyed that the Miami game is not part of the slate because I am looking forward to watching Yuri Perez make his major league debut here. But let us dig into the main slate. We have some expensive options at the very top. Spencer Strider's up to 12.2K. 12.2 against a dangerous Toronto team. But we know the type of floor that Spencer Strider provides thanks to his strikeout ability. And obviously his ceiling is elite. So we definitely have to consider him at 12.2K. I actually don't know that he's going to be super popular. Be interesting to see ownership projections later. Uh, but at 12.2, that seems a bit hefty, um, especially because we can get to guys like Corbin Burnes at 9,200, Mackenzie Gore at 87, who have some pretty decent matchups themselves. So Garrett Cole at the top was just knocked around by this Tampa Bay squad. He started out that game really strong and then just hit a wall. His prices jump now, which I don't quite understand the 12K. Like I get that he's, considered one of the best, if not the best pitchers in all of baseball at this point, but that's a pretty healthy jump in price. Has the K ability, just I don't know that he gets to it as often as a Spencer Strider does. And I would say that his matchup is more difficult. Obviously, Tampa Bay's offense has been the most dangerous in baseball this season. So it is interesting. You look at his home splits, though, he's been absolutely ridiculous at home, averaging 30 DK points per game. Opponent average of just 155, 3 earned runs allowed in 33 innings of work. That's that's some pretty impressive home numbers. Going to be in my pool. I'm just not sure how heavy I will end up on Garrett Cole. Sonny Gray, I think, makes a viable pivot off of Garrett Cole for 2K less. Gets a pretty solid matchup against the Cubs at home. Looks to be in the 60s with wind blowing in a bit in Minnesota. Probably one of the better pitcher environments on the slate as temperatures are starting to heat up around the nation. So, but Gray is coming off his worst start of the season. Still struck out six against Cleveland. Pitching at home, where he, similar to Garrett Cole, has been absolutely dominant. 2 earned runs allowed in 25 innings of work. 3-0. 172 average against is pretty nice, and nearly the same amount of DK points per game as Garrett Cole at home. So uh, we get him, at a discount from Garrett Cole. I think that makes sense. Uh, and then obviously seeing this and thinking it through a little bit more, maybe I have to fade Garrett Cole, which is scary to think about considering he's at home and the numbers I showed you for his at home are pretty ridiculous. So, but yeah, Sonny Gray's a pretty strong home favorite here, so I have no problem going with him. Corbin Burnes, I I just don't know where are his strikeouts? Where's his upside? He did it against Arizona, um, but he's not showcasing the upside that we're used to. I think it's going to show up at some point. He did get 2 extra days of rest before the start. I think that's going to be solid. Kansas City uh, can be struck out. He hasn't been as great at home, which is kind of shocking. So his trends kind of deviate that we maybe shouldn't be too high on him. I have a hard time not going back to him. Kansas City has one of the lowest implied team totals on the slate. I'm trying to look quick. It looks like they do have the lowest as of right now, and he's a massive minus 235 home favorite. So I think Cole or Corbin Burnes is going to be the top cash option SP. Um, Maybe with Strider, that's a lot of salary. I don't know if cash game players are going to go that route. I'm not a cash game person myself, so uh, I can't really predict what they're going to do. But Burnes seems to be in a great spot despite not pitching as elite as we would have expected coming into the season. Drew Smiley's interesting. Can certainly go off. I mean, against an elite Dodger squad, just absolutely dominated them. Had trouble with command last time out. Gets an extra day of rest. Minnesota is striking out a decent amount. So Smiley, I just don't know if I want to pay 9,100 for him when I can pay for 9,200 for Burnes, or go less 8,700 for Mackenzie Gore. Gore, super talented, a lot of K upside, more volatile. He does walk some guys. The Mets are struggling right now, as we see that he dominated the Mets earlier this year with 10 Ks and 6 innings of work. I think he's in a great spot. Hasn't been as strong at home, but I really like Mackenzie Gore's upside. And kind of taking a look at the weather in Washington, it is pretty warm. It's actually going to be the warmest game on the night, so obviously that's a little frustrating, but still, Mackenzie Gore going to be one of my favorite GPP options on this slate. Dustin May just shut down this San Diego squad with his best start of the 2023 season. Earlier this year, we saw him go back to back against the same team against Arizona. He was actually stronger in the second game. Gets an extra day of rest as well, which is key since he's returning from Tommy John. I think he's an interesting GPP play, so he's definitely going to make my pool. Martin Perez, obviously going to make my pool. I will take pitching against Oakland basically any time. He's coming off a really tough start, but that's okay. It may not have the K upside that some of the other guys do. He has struggled on the road, but I mean the matchup's just solid enough. Night game in Oakland. Generally, the ball isn't flying very well. I think he can be solid. Probably not super spectacular, so I'll probably limit my exposure in GPPs, but I will have exposure for sure. Going down the list, I don't think we need to consider Bassett against Atlanta's offense. He has been best at home. Walks are killing him. That's the one thing I really hate with starting pitchers. The walk numbers drive me nuts. So I'm going to be off of Bassett against Atlanta. I mean, I'm mostly off of all pitchers against Atlanta at this point, but Blake Snell, another start against the Dodgers, was solid. Made one mistake with his walks, led to the 2 runs and him taking the L. But I think he has figured some things out a little bit. And we know the Dodgers are weakest against left-handed pitching overall. So I think this is a spot for Blake Snell to have some upside. Just not somebody I'm in a hurry to jam in a lot, but I will get exposure. Tyler McGill, going to go on my fade list. Just has not been great since the start of the season. Not racking up strikeouts, allowing base runners. With DK being an efficiency site, those base runners just take away from the upside, and I'm not all that interested. Logan Allen has been really impressive, but his Ks have come down, allowing a few more base runners. I don't really like to use left-handed pitching against the Angels because of the middle of that lineup have traditionally done damage to left-handed pitching. But he's somebody to consider at least slightly. I don't know that I'm going to get there, but he's at least on my list of guys to look into more as the day goes on. Paxton making his season debut, I'm not really interested despite facing a St. Louis team that has struggled. JP France, we were on him for his debut at 5,200, was really strong. Bullpen cost him the W, but I'm interested. He got an extra day of rest for his second start. The White Sox have really struggled of late. I think that JP France is very interesting as an SP2 in GPPs. Going down, a lot of guys that I'm not really interested in. Kind of want to be interested in Taijuan Walker in Coors, but I have to dig in more to his history in Coors. The reason I'm interested is because it's going to be in the low 50s with wind blowing in from center field at Coors. Uh, Maybe that wind doesn't really affect a whole lot. I haven't really read into wind blowing in Coors and how it affects things. But the fact that it's going to be, in the low 50s, cool enough in Colorado that I think Taijuan Walker could be a sneaky option. I know traditionally he's been a reverse splits guy. I have to dig into this season so far. But, if he is a reverse splits guy, I think that works out well for him because Colorado can play some platoon guys. McMahon as well, Blackman. So I think there's a route to Walker surprising at his price point in Coors. So he's going to be on my list. I just don't know if I'm going to get there. Another guy that's going to make my list that's volatile that I don't know, Kyle Bradish, probably more of like a 10 to 15% share just based on his upside. His one start at home was atrocious, but he has shown upside. Not great the last couple, but that start at Washington was great. He has electric stuff. It's just a matter of can he avoid making mistakes and obviously avoid, walks. He's going to allow base runners, which hurts us on an efficiency site, but he can make up for it with some strikeout ability and at his price point. I'm just considering him. I may end up off of him by the end of the day. But that is kind of the look at the pitching for today. There are a lot of options, so we do have to kind of cut back, but I see there's some that we can just eliminate immediately. That makes it easier for us. So if you like what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alerts anytime that we drop videos here at DFS Army. You want to join us at DFS Army and get into the Discord, utilize all of our tools, the weather station, our carnage report, optimizer, everything. I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off your monthly membership. And as always, best of luck, everybody.